There's a place in Massachusetts where every day is Pride Day, where storefronts hang rainbow flags, and there's signage for the newest drag shows. This place is called Provincetown. Pilgrims landed in 1620, and fishing and whaling caused it to be highly successful, and many of the Portuguese sailors decided to call it home. Some say it's due to the unique way the sun shines there. Others say it's because of the inspiration of the beach. Either way, by the 1890s, Provincetown began to develop quite the art community. Artists have always been more open-minded to the reality of the world around them. In this way, the gay community had a place they could go to relax and not be judged by those around them. Experimental theater performances allowed people to watch a drag queen perform as early as 1940. Today, Provincetown, or P-Town as it's affectionately called, is still a safe haven for those who are a bit different. It has an average year-round population of 3,000 people, but that number balloons to 60,000 in the summer months, and every day is Pride Day. In fact, according to TripAdvisor and Orbitz, it was the #1 place to be in 2019, beating out both New York City and San Francisco. So I decided to see what Pride in Provincetown looks like. Now there are 2 ways to get there from Boston. The first is to get up really early and drive almost 2 hours. You need to get there early because the parking lots fill up fast. The other way is to take the ferry from Boston Harbor to the city center. One restaurant I always have to hit up while there is called Way Downtown. They have amazing food like fried soft-shell crab sandwiches and fish tacos, and their drinks are amazing. I was able to sit down with the owner, Jerry, to learn a little bit more.
You asked me about Pride and what it might bring me. This is just the second one, so it's hard to tell because last year, of course, you're not going to get the big, group of people coming down yet. Anyway, to experience it and be in it. But it was very good last year, and people had a good time. And it's ironic that they didn't do this earlier.
Yeah.
Years
seriously.
ago. Yeah. So it'll grow. I'm sure it'll grow.
Yeah.
And it'll be great.
I feel like there's always been a LGBTQ kind of presence here.
Definitely.
Why is that? Because I'm from Florida, so I actually don't know why.
Well, because this was a real artist community many years ago, and still is. So, it brought all different kinds of people here. Actually, like Billie Holiday sang in Provincetown years ago, Ella Fitzgerald.
Wow.
I mean, so everybody would love to come down here. It was one of those places where people could get away.
Yeah.
Be themselves and just enjoy.
Well, you've got the beach here too, so that helps.
You got the beach, you got beautiful land and dunes, and and just it's a place where for many years that people could be accepted here. Yeah, and that's how it grew.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How long have you been the owner of Way Down, and did you start the restaurant?
I started the restaurant here, and
wonderful.
19 years.
19 years.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
The 2 O's coming up.
Yeah, it is. Next year.
Wonderful.
So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
There are currently 1 million LGBTQ African Americans living in the United States. They continue to be discriminated against in housing, healthcare, and education opportunities. Victims of hate crimes, they are 1.3 times more likely to experience police violence. So I was happy to be able to speak with Jadie Williams and the WMix of Color Weekend.
I'm Jadie Williams.
And what are you doing?
So I am the executive director and producer for WMix of Color Weekend, which is a 4-day Pride festival that's dedicated to women-identified folks, non-binary, gender fluid, and gender queer folks of color. And we're every year in P-Town, every first weekend here in P-Town. It's a 4-day Pride Festival that has workshops, shared meals, parties, all sorts of events that we do. And we get folks from all across the country. We even have a few folks coming from across the globe.
Wow.
And yeah, we just turn up and heal and love on and knowledge share for these 4 days.
That's wonderful.
And so right now we're doing registration. We're getting ready. So that's why there's all this commotion currently happening.
That's fine. So what do you offer and like how do you help women of color?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things that we offer is community and a sense of space, a sense of belonging, and an opportunity, like I said before, to have knowledge share. I think too often, we're in this world and we're kind of isolated. You're finding community and finding other queer people of color that are living the lives and doing the work isn't always easy, especially depending on what part of the country you're in. So like one of the first things I say we do is we provide space and community. So we elevate and we celebrate the lives and experiences of the aforementioned communities. And then the other thing we do, I think, is like we connect people. This is a huge networking event. People are coming from all over the place and have never met each other before, or might have like seen each other on Instagram or like read about somebody's work and never actually met the person. And so there's a lot of networking in that regard.
That's great.
And then, like I said, we party and we heal and we eat and we kind of rest. We vacation.
If you're going to come to a beach town, you need to do that.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what we do.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was by lucky chance when I wandered into Women Crafts, a lesbian and feminist bookstore, and found a book called The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. I was able to speak a little bit more to the owner, Michelle, who told me a bit more about the store.
So this is Women Crafts in Provincetown.
Okay.
The store's been here since 1976. I've been working with the store for 9 years, and I bought it 5 years ago.
Wow. So what would you say is the focus? I mean, it looks like a bookstore.
Yeah, started primarily as a bookstore. In 76, it was kind of a moment of lesbian separatism, and Provincetown is known for the LGBTQ community, but has often been, like many places, ownership is primarily male.
Yeah.
And the art in town was primarily male. So the women who started the shop wanted a place where women's art was shown, where women's music was shown, where women's books were shown. So many statistics like we know about, most people know wage of women is much less than men, 76 cents to the dollar.
Yeah.
But statistics about female authors, there's percentage-wise more female authors than there are male. But in terms of
I didn't know that.
in terms of how much they get paid, how much they get reviewed, how much they get faced out on a bookshelf, is all pretty bad. And similarly, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there's been different movements. Like in New York, there were the Guerrilla Girls who were drawing attention to the fact that art and museums are so underrepresented by female artists. So a woman's naked body can be shown over and over again in a museum, but a female artist isn't represented. So that's the goal of this shop, is that everything's handmade by women. And so when they started in the 70s, it was really primarily lesbian, and it was a really safe place for women to come with their partner, buy a ring,
So it's like everything.
But yeah, so yes, books are a primary focus. In the 70s, definitely music was as well. But jewelry came into place and pottery. So it's expensive to run a bookstore. And so gifts help cover the cost of providing books, which is a goal of ours and a priority of ours. But over the years, we've worked with a lot of feminist artists to have other stuff in the shop.
A favorite book of yours, or one that you would recommend, or?
It's so different. So when the shop started, again, the focus was get women's words out there and get work made by women out there. And as we've continued, we've changed as the culture has changed. So right now it's a priority of me to get words and books by women of color.
Wonderful.
And trans women, other marginalized populations. So like we're not doing a good job as feminists if we're not being intersectional. So right now that's a strong priority of me. So like this whole display is authors of color. In terms of like, this is my favorite essay book from 2017, We Are Never Meeting in Real Life by Samantha Irby. She's funny, but she's also really honest. She's a black woman who's a lesbian who deals with weight issues as well. She's one of the writers on the TV show Shrill with that's also written by Lindy West and it stars Adie Bryant. So this is a funny book, but it's also raw and honest and deals with poverty issues. And yeah, so that was a really fun book. But there's also really important books here. Like,
I was gonna. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say because I am, I'm straight, but I also have identity issues with accepting that I'm a woman because I think like we're told so much that we need to be a certain way.
Yep.
And so I was wondering if there was anything like that you would recommend to a woman who's trying to just embrace being a woman and not really knowing where to start.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, I think any books that feature strong women, it really depends on like what you connect in on. So like memoirs are really important to me.
Yeah.
And when I hear somebody be truthful and honest about themselves, it helps me like accept maybe the difficult parts of myself. So Faced Out are memoirs that I recommend, but also in terms of self-help books. So there's a section over here. I think maybe you bought a Brene Brown book the other day.
I did.
So,
I just started reading that now.
She's really great and really popular.
Just a moment.
It just, it depends on like what you need to hear in different moments. So another favorite author of mine that's in the self-help category is Anne Lamott. And, she gets her strength from the fact that she was a drug addict. And coming on the other side, I think like so many people's memoirs and works are like once you've lived through a real life experience that's been hard or painful or you've had to survive something, you become more honest and what you have to share with everybody else is more helpful. Being vulnerable is really helpful to everybody else and yourself. So she's one of my favorites. Brene Brown obviously is really great. And just the memoirs, so like in terms of like body positivity, fat positivity, I'm trying to carry more authors that write about that. I think all women are helped by reading stories written by lesbians, because that's a lot about accepting being yourself. I also recommend everybody read something by a trans author. Anything that we're going through in life and trying to accept of ourselves, I just always think if you think about the difficulty being a trans person and knowing that you're not, your body and your mind aren't matching up, and you're not getting to live your life the way you really feel it. We all have things that we feel, and I think if you wrap your mind around and accept and appreciate the words of trans people, you can accept and appreciate things of you, like to live your best life. Like, okay, wow, look at how painful that is, and this person's overcame that. Like, what can I overcome?
Yeah. Oh, these are so sweet. Thank you so very much for everything.
Provincetown is beautiful, friendly, and welcoming, even if you don't show up during a Pride event. It's a place where you can get some ice cream, saltwater taffy, shells, tie-dyed shirts, art, and some of the most colorful and well-made clothes I've ever seen at Seaplane.
I'm Schuyler Brown, and I'm the creator of Seaplane. We've been around for 10 years. This is our second year in P-Town. We have stores also in Palm Springs, California, where we started, and Key West, Florida, and now here for our second season. What I do is a limited number of special shirts. I buy what I think are really exceptional textiles. Most are cottons, but some aren't, like these polycrepes. And each gets its own name and serial number. So these are digitally printed tags, unique to every shirt. This is unit 19 out of 110, and they're randomly applied. There's unit 5 out of 110. And so that's in all styles. We do a long sleeve, a short sleeve, and a tunic. This is the men's long sleeve piece, but women wear it, and then men wear the ladies' pieces. So we stopped trying to tell people what to do.
Nice. So what do you think about P-Town or the Pride festivals?
Well, this company was born at the Pride festivals. When I started the company, I was working out of my mom's attic, selling 3 shirts a week, but I built the brand by going to Pride festivals all around the country in our little vehicle and setting up a tent and hiring people and talking to customers one at a time. So our following was built at the Pride shows.
Nice.
Today, we are finding that it's easier to sell direct to customers when they can come in and put their hands on the materials, because they're all very different, very much about touch and the quality of the various materials. This is a cotton. This is a polycrepe.
That
It's
is an
just
awesome
so
shirt.
crazy. Yeah, it's called Nick's Chase because for me it reminds me of this Chase Manhattan logo, which was designed in 1959 by a really interesting corporate identity group in New York City, and it was kind of the beginning of the idea of the globe, of finance reaching all corners of the world. So I just think this is really neat. I worked in corporate identity for a while, so I really think this is a fun piece, and this is called Rayon Diamonds Extreme for reasons that should be pretty clear. So they all have names and stories. This is called German Sense of Humor because it's very bleak, except for this one little ray of hope here, which according to Nietzsche is actually the foundation of unhappiness, because we cling to this idea that someday something is going to work out. Anyway, that's called German Sense of Humor.
I love it.
If you want to experience Pride Weekend, I highly suggest reserving a hotel a few months in advance. They fill up really fast and get very expensive. Also, make sure the dates are correct, and please go to the P-Town Events website as opposed to just looking for it on Google. Also, leave your judgments at the door. Go with a kind, open mind. In the end, we're all people with hopes, dreams, disappointments, pain, and we all want someone to love and to be loved back. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe and share with your friends. And if you would like to help me make more videos like this one, please feel free to log on to my Patreon page, which is listed in the descriptions below, and become a Patreon member. Thank you very much, and have a great day.